Bruce, why the return to Adelaide United?
I mean, it wasn't initially my plan when I retired, no doubt about that. But when I got the call from the chairman a number of weeks ago, it's an opportunity I had to jump at. Funnily enough, I was actually speaking to Fox Sports about a role there and another sporting organisation in Sydney as well. But the opportunity to come back to a club I love so much, I mean, it was a very simple decision for me to make. I mean, going back to Sydney and setting up the house, I was in the school zone for my kids, everything was organised, that was sort of the long-term plan. But, you know, opportunities like this don't come up every day. There's only 10 Director of Football roles in the country. I mean, very, very lucky, very privileged to get the opportunity and definitely one I couldn't resist taking with both hands.
What do you actually do? What's your role involved?
Running the football department. So obviously working closely with the new head coach that'll be here later this month, but also, you know, having a sharp focus on the women, the youth, you know, the succession plan on both the football side in terms of players, personnel, the coaching side as well, and also speaking to the broader staff, you know, whether it's high performance managers, doctors. You know, luckily enough in my time I've had the experience of seeing what the vast majority of the A-League clubs are doing, and I got a pretty good understanding of who does it quite well and who doesn't do it quite well. So in this role I plan on getting a lot of feedback, obviously in the first month or so that I'm in the role, and trying to see what sort of tangible benefits I can actually bring to not just the players, but the staff and the club as a whole.
Bruce, how much of an advantage do you think it will be, given you know this club inside out, you're a great player, championship player here, how much will that help in terms of being able to relate the backroom stuff to the, I guess, the front on-field stuff?
Probably the key competitive advantage, to be honest. I mean, getting it from the player's perspective, but even as a player, I always had a keen interest in business and corporations and how things work off the field. And to be able to bring business acumen as well as the footballing experience, I think is a pretty unique blend, and something I hope that helps the club improve in general.
Have you spoken to Gertjan Verbeek yet, the new coach coming in?
I haven't spoken to him personally yet. One of the first calls I will make, it is Monday morning. I don't know what time it is in Holland at the moment, but definitely one of the first calls I'll make. The club only works well, and you know, everything sort of filters down from the top. When the football director, the football department, and the coach and everyone's aligned and rowing in the same direction, you can get real benefits from that sort of relationship.
And why are you so excited about, I guess, the vision that Pete and the club ownership has for taking the Reds forward?
It's an exciting vision. I think you know, there's a bit of change and a bit of transition period at the club, if you like, especially when new owners come in. They want to, you know, implement their own ideas, their own vision. But I think it's very clear in what Pete's explained to me, and you guys will start to see that, and the fans will start to see that. I mean, Eugene coming back, that's a massive plus for the club. Obviously, to get myself here, I'd like to think that that'll benefit the club in a myriad of ways, and the appointments that I think we'll make and the signings we'll be able to make should get the fans excited. I think you know, it's a salary capped league, it's a salary capped system, so you've got to try to find competitive advantages. You can't just go and splash cash on 7 or 8 brand new players to entice them to come to your club. But I think with the culture that we're going to set, the frameworks that we're going to build out here, I think we can get that competitive advantage and, you know, build a culture where people love to play for the club, and people are willing to come to Adelaide United over other clubs because of the environment that we operate in.
Bruce, your head's probably spinning, but is there one sort of thing that you think, okay, I've got to sink my teeth into that first start?
The one key thing I want to do is get feedback. I mean, I'm not someone who's going to come in and start to, I've got all the best ideas in the world. We're going to do X, Y, Z because when I was here, I always wanted this or I always wanted that. What I want and what this current playing group wants might be two completely different things. So it'll be good to get feedback, not just from the players, but from the staff and everyone involved on the football side to see what is lacking, what is good, what could be better, where I can help them work. I'm all about teamwork. I've always only been in a team. I know in the corporate world, team is a bit of a buzzword, but for me, it's all I really know. So, look, if together people can feel like they're being heard and I can actually deliver some tangible benefits to them, then I think that bodes well.
Recruitment has to be a priority, especially with your captain leaving.
Yeah, and that comes back to what I said earlier about succession planning. In my vision, eventually I want to see a club where your talisman is AES, captain, best player in the team leaves, and there's someone there, ready to replace him. That's a big hole that we're going to have to fill, and recruiting players is something that I have no doubt I'll be able to do quite well. We'll spend more money this season than Adelaide United ever has in its history, and I've got no doubts that we'll be able to find good players to fill the gaps that we need.
Will you mainly be looking within Australia or mainly overseas? There's obviously been, I think, 3 imports, 3 visa spots away from that. Will mainly be overseas you'll be looking to bring players in from?
Not mainly. I think we can find a good balance. I think obviously the foreign players have to make the difference. I think Adelaide United last season were hamstrung by a couple of foreign players not living up to their billing. I've been a foreign player before in various countries. I understand the pressure involved in being a foreign player. But yeah, we'll look at a mix of both foreigners. I think I'm lucky that the clubs kept the core of the squad. So, it's not a Brisbane Roar or a Wellington Phoenix where you need to rebuild a whole team. That's testament to the job that the club's done so far to keep the core of the squad, and we just need to fill in a few gaps and better the squad for next season, probably 5 or 6 players at a max.
You did mention you had some incredible opportunities in Sydney that you have turned your back on to come here. What was the number one thing that got you to return here to Adelaide?
First and foremost, the club. I love the club, but broader than that, the city and the state of South Australia is a fantastic place to live. I mean, there's a lot of conjecture, if you like, about Adelaide or South Australia, but for me, it's an awesome place to live. I've lived all over the world, and I can honestly say Adelaide's the best city I've ever lived in. So, in order to come back and to bring the family back and to move again, while it's a bit painful and it's a bit of a logistical nightmare, couldn't pass up. I got a fantastic network here of friends, family, and I look forward to having my young kids grow up amongst them. So, an easy decision. I love the club and I love the city.
You said the club's going to have more money than ever before to spend on players. Does that mean it will be on a playing level with the Sydneys and the Melbourne Victories? Or?
I don't think so. I mean, I was on the board of the Players Union for over 4 years, and I've got a pretty good understanding of the spend that those clubs do make. And that's when I come back to saying about the competitive advantages which can come around culture. I think Sydney FC, there's no doubt, do it the best in the league. I've got good relationships with a bunch of their players there, and they've openly said to me, look, I don't care if I get 30, 40,000 playing elsewhere. I wouldn't leave. I want to stay here. The way the club is, the family atmosphere and all the other benefits that Sydney FC do give their players, they want to stay there. I don't see any reason why we can't do that. And we actually have to do that because we won't be spending the money of Sydney FC or Melbourne Victory or Melbourne City. At the end of the day, it's a salary cap league. So obviously the amount they can spend is also limited, bar the marquee spots. But look, we'll we were competitive last season and the season before that, and I've got no doubt we will be next season.
Bruce, you're obviously, really excited by this opportunity, and got the business acumen, like you said. Do you have ambitions though one day to perhaps step into coaching, or is you just want to focus on this at this stage? Look,
I remember speaking to Warren Joyce, the ex-Melbourne City coach, after a game when I was working for Fox, and he said, you should get into coaching, or you should start playing again. Why'd you retire so early or so young? And I told him, mate, I can't think of anything worse than coaching. The worst thing as a player is watching your team while you're injured. That's what I liken coaching to. You got you can train the team and prepare them as best you can for the week, but once that whistle blows, there's nothing you can actually do to really affect the result, in my view. So coaching is probably my worst nightmare, mate.
Bruce, how soon will you start in the role? Do you start now immediately?
Yeah, start immediately. So I knew this has been coming. So I've gotten a fair bit of detail over the last couple of weeks, if you like. So yeah, mate, I'll hit the ground running. Flew in last night and ready to roll.
And do you know how long, if you signed a contract for 2-3 years, do you know how long you plan to stick around?
I'm sticking around for a while, mate. No contract. It's open-ended, if you like. I think you guys call it full-time employed. It's the first time I've ever been full-time employed. I'm used to the contract side of things, so yeah. My idea is to be here as long as possible, as long as the club will have me.
How long do you think it'll take to, we saw what our Lane Nuns did last season, how long do you think it'll take to climb that and go one step further?
Well, I was lucky enough to be part of a team that won the championship and the premiership double in 2016. I think the club was around for about 12, 13 odd years before we were able to do that. So obviously at the end of the day, we'd love to win another grand final here in Adelaide. A lot of moving parts for that to happen. A lot of luck involved as well. And I think, we want to be a top 3 side. I think that's got to be the goal. The boys were one kick away from being in the grand final last season, just less than a month ago. I don't see why we can't aim and shouldn't aim to be in the grand final again. Look, there's no doubt the competition's getting less equal every year. So there are challenges, but we're a strong club, we're a well-respected club, and we'll continue to be so.